Listen closely to the sound of American news today. The loud, aggressive regional accents, the heavy Boston R's, the broad Southern drawls, the thick Chicago vowels, they are disappearing. In their place, a measured, perfectly articulated, and curiously neutral sound. This is not some accident of coincidence or a generic broadcasting standard. This is the sound of Filipino English. This video exposes the stunning, secret truth. American media, desperate to solve its deep crisis of polarization, fragmentation, and audience distrust, is quietly adopting the rhythm, clarity, and precision of Filipino English. This linguistic shift is driven by a single, powerful fact: the Filipino standard, forged by rigorous education and the spirit of puso, offers two things traditional American dialects can no longer guarantee: unbiased authority and perfect clarity. We are tracking this story from the crowded, bustling call centers of Manila, where thousands of Filipinos train daily in neutral, universally understood English, directly to the high-tech voice training labs in New York, and finally, into the studios that create the next generation of AI voices. The real reason Americans are changing their speaking voice on television is that the Filipino sound has proven to be the most effective, the most trusted, and the most universally comprehensible model in the world today. It is the language of communication without confrontation. Historically, American news was driven by regional voices, each carrying the weight of cultural bias. A Southern accent suggested folksy authenticity, a New England accent implied intellectual seriousness. But in today's divided landscape, those accents are seen as polarizing, immediately signaling a political or social leaning that drives half the audience away. The media industry needed a voice that was both authoritative and emotionally blank, a voice that commands attention without carrying the baggage of an American region. They found that voice in the Philippines.
The rise of the Filipino accent as the new American broadcast standard began decades ago, not on television, but in the trenches of the business process outsourcing BO industry. When American companies needed flawless, 24/7 customer service, they turned to the Philippines. Why? Because the Filipino education system emphasizes American English pronunciation with a clarity that is unmatched globally. The goal was to create English speakers whose words were perfectly understandable to any listener, anywhere. This rigorous training created a unique, non-regional accent, a sound that has no geographic home within the United States, and therefore carries no regional bias. This neutrality is the secret weapon American news channels have adopted. By training their reporters and anchors to speak in this measured, crystal-clear style, they aim to present information that appears untainted by the speaker's personal background or regional politics. It is the sound of pure, unadulterated information. Now, if you are a true, full-blooded Filipino who carries the spirit of puso in your chest, show your support and subscribe to this channel right now. Join us to celebrate the profound emotional richness and global impact of the Filipino spirit. This shift is also an economic necessity. News channels compete fiercely for audience attention, and clarity is paramount. The precision of Filipino English, with its careful articulation of every consonant and vowel, reduces miscommunication to near zero, making it an invaluable tool in the high-stakes world of live broadcasting. It delivers information efficiently and unambiguously, ensuring the message is received exactly as intended by every person in the audience, regardless of their own native accent or dialect. The linguistic expertise developed in Manila's call centers is now being actively imported into specialized American media coaching firms.
American voice coaches are teaching anchors to eliminate the glottal stops, the vowel shifts, and the swallowed consonants that define regional American speech. They are instead focusing on the distinct, careful syllabic rhythm and the slightly elevated pitch that characterizes educated Filipino English. It is a calculated move to de-Americanize the sound of American news. Furthermore, the Filipino voice is dominating the next frontier of media: artificial intelligence. Many of the digital voices, the text-to-speech programs, and the virtual assistants being developed for use in North America are being trained using massive datasets of Filipino English speakers. Because the Filipino accent is so reliably articulate and non-regional, it provides the perfect, pristine template for AI voices that must be understood everywhere, from San Francisco to Sydney. without sounding distinctly American, British, or Canadian. This reliance on the Filipino voice in AI development is cementing its position as the default global voice of authority and instruction. The ultimate goal for American media is to create a seamless, professional voice that is utterly familiar yet geographically invisible. This invisibility is the source of its trustworthiness. If a voice sounds like it could come from anywhere, the audience is less likely to assume it is coming from a polarized, biased location. This phenomenon is a perfect example of cultural soft power. The Philippines is not exporting its politics or its military might, it is exporting its superior ability to communicate in the English language. This quiet linguistic dominance demonstrates that in a globalized world, the ability to be perfectly clear is the ultimate form of influence. Filipino English is not just taking over the news desk, it is saving the perceived credibility of the entire American media landscape. The move toward a Filipino-influenced neutral accent is the direct result of the American media's crisis of trust. Since the 2010s, trust in American mass media has plummeted due to increasing partisanship. The subtle adoption of an accent that carries no regional political baggage is a desperate but effective attempt to rebuild that bridge. It is a strategy of linguistic camouflage. By speaking without a recognizable American regional dialect, news organizations are attempting to project an image of objectivity and professionalism that they have struggled to maintain through Cont. alone. We are witnessing the maturation of global English. The Filipino standard is simply proving to be the most adaptable and useful form of the language for mass communication in a fractured world. It is the language optimized for clarity, a language stripped of unnecessary cultural noise. This profound cultural exchange demonstrates that the future of the English language is not owned by those who invented it, but by those who speak it most clearly. The Filipino voice is becoming the universal translator for complicated information, rescuing American media from the very polarization its traditional regional voices helped create. The shift is complete. The Filipino sound is the new voice of authority on American news channels.